What's up, people? One Up Punch here. Decided to pick up this game called Sentry for early access on Steam, and it is a tower defense game. The way that it plays is that you're currently in a ship, and you go through these like roguelite type of events to where you're going on a starship, and you're flying out of like gates into other areas. You're basically being chased down by another enemy ship, and kind of like FTL or some of the other games to where there's always like this nefarious group of pirates or some other federation. Essentially you're trying to escape them, or if you have to deal with them, then you go into this like combat encounter where you're a sentry and you're trying to clear wave upon wave upon wave of enemies, trying to go through the extraction into your base, reach a reactor, and destroy everything you have on your ship. Before you get into the combat encounter, they'll put you into this menu to where you can pick your different loadouts. You could actually have your deployables, you could have a grenade to throw, a passive ability, and whatever slots you have for your weapons. Currently, I'm able to hold an SMG and a pistol, but in this current playthrough, as you see me on the video, that I start off with a brand new game and then start off with a pistol, you'll get two traps. You'll get a trap that slows and then a trap that shoots and does damage. And this will go off every time when somebody goes near it. Other games, like when I played Death Trap, which is a tower defense game set on a top-down type of like Diablo-esque ARPG, essentially you had to put down these traps that would like be used once, and that's it. Sentry is used until, the mission's over, or I don't think they have any health because they don't really blow up or detonate from grenades or anybody walk into it. Depending upon where you are on the ship, they'll start off with one breach, and then after that it'll be two or three, and progressively gets harder and harder and harder. They'll send different units. They'll send units that can come after you with blades on both their hands. Some of them shoot different guns. You'll have these slug creatures that take a shit ton of damage, and they don't die until you keep pumping them full of bullets. You'll have these big creatures that have Gatling guns and big guns that can basically kill you with high armor, and it's really difficult to deal with unless you go into their backside, shoot their tank, and then they take more damage. Another enemy unit that's kind of like that is this creature that's mutated, that's on fire. If you shoot the bulging point, it'll do more damage too, and then destroy that character. Essentially, all you're doing is trying to stop these people from going into the extraction. And there'll be multiple breaches, and you'll have to put down traps to help them slow them down, or kill them depending upon whatever you have. The more you play through the game, like you go through the different roguelike elements, and you're going out into this map and flying around in your ship, you will discover new blueprints the more you play the game. Like during the roguelike elements, they'll have like these derelict ships that will give you different caches, weapon, gear, or gadget. Essentially giving you a new weapon, a new skill, a passive, or even another deployable for a trap. And that's how you unlock it more as you play the game. In terms of what I had troubles with when playing Sentry, the game does have some FPS issues, like the more units that spawn or more stuff that happens, like in the reactor room. I had to deal with an encounter to where there's a bunch of grenades, bullets, bombs, and enemies all around me, and my FPS went from about 90 down to like 30 FPS at a consistency until I started killing them more, and then it went back up again. So there are some issues there. I didn't have any fatal crashes or errors, but I do want to talk about the guns themselves. I really like the sound and the feel of the different guns. Every gun has a different ult. The pistol has a detonation function when you get explosive rounds. You'll get another pistol that has burst fire and higher pen. Then you get an SMG that has fires 3 shots at once, and then its other alt fire, which is just an SMG variant. You also have the assault rifle or DMR, to where if you zoom in, it does a single shot. When out of the scope, it does a burst fire. There's different stuff like that, and those are the only guns I've found so far. Never really found that much in terms of traps, and you can upgrade them, giving them higher firepower, more recoil, being able to have higher magazine size, more damage, and even be able to slow units more through the research, as you see on the top left. That is your research, your currency, and I think the lives of sentries you actually have in the game, because once all of them are destroyed, the ship will blow up. You'll see an animation of them going from a area through a line, and once it hits the reactor, the game is over. And that's pretty much the end of the run right there. So if all the sentries are destroyed, or they get to your reactor, the game is over. As I was saying earlier, this is the SMG. If I have a loadout to say that would be worth doing for brand new players that have maybe not put a whole bunch of time and effort into the game or don't understand it, highly recommend getting the SMG, upgrading it to 90 rounds for the reserve, and then using that and the higher end, I think, MR9 pistol, which is the one that gets burst fire. When you do that, essentially you're going to have something that has 90 rounds, so you can deal with all these different enemies, burst fire, or just straight SMG. And then you have another pistol that has burst fire and single fire, and that does more damage as well. And then when you get the grenade, it deals with more area and a lot of the waves that are coming at you, and a lot of the traps can't deal with it. But that's a lot of the stuff that I've been playing so far when it comes down to Sentry. It's a very fun game for what it is, and I like the idea, even though I'm only starting with 1 or 2 traps, you have to figure out what you're trying to do with it. You either have to put it in a specific location that they all might funnel through, put it over by the extraction, or like put them individually in small areas so that the trap can be more effective, slow down more of the units, and then you can be able to deal with them with whatever guns you currently have. And there are more slots you can unlock. For example, in the roguelike elements, you could choose between opening up more slots in your inventory so you can carry more guns, deployables, and passives, or even like active throwing ability, like throwing grenades. Or you can actually get blueprints for the next run. So if you die, you can get another blueprint for an SMG, assault rifle, or a DMR, or whichever gun you got in that run currently that was for the blueprint. And then it'll be a permanent thing for you, so when you go and do another mission, the gun that you unlocked with the blueprint will be there for you. Before the end of the video, in short, I wanted to show off Sentry because not only is it a fun game, a fun indie tower defense game, but it's also pretty unique in the terms of you don't have a whole lot of variety when it comes down to traps yet until you unlock them later on. You get 1 or 2 traps, one for slowing and one for doing damage that help you thin out the herd, while you have guns and active abilities that will obviously help out your Sentry in surviving longer and dealing with the harder units. So when you're unlocking more stuff, it progressively gets easier for you, or harder, depending upon whatever units and enemies you have to go through. Not to mention trying to figure out where you are on the map, and trying to figure out where the other letters are, like A, B, C, and then being able to put the traps out there so when the units come, they get destroyed or slowed down. And then being able to go up staircases, going to like a cargo area, or even like a mainframe room. So that is kind of difficult to kind of get used to. And then you have the research of the different power-ups for the traps, the guns, and the grenades themselves. And that's as you progress through the roguelike elements of the game. But that's all I got so far for Sentry. I put about maybe 2 hours into it so far. I went back and started playing it more after the whole deal with Pavlov VR, and Light Brigade came out about a couple of days ago. So now I want to go back and play some more Sentry because I do miss playing it. It's a great tower defense game if you're into FPS games like that. And that's been me in One Nut Punch. Like I said, you want to go pick this game up. It's $20 on Steam, and highly recommend it. Anyway, I've been One Nut Punch, and this has been another video. Thanks for watching as per usual. Still got some other games to do and some other videos to put out, but this is definitely one of them that are done. Anyway, I'll see you later in the next one.